Well, I gotta say, I have enjoyed some of the films based on Stephen King's numerous horror works, like Cujo, It, and yes, even Pet Cemetery. But I was not aware he did dramatic stories. And while I have not seen one of those films, which was the Shawshank Redemption, yeah, which I definitely need to look into, but this film, however, I did get to see. And it recently celebrated its 25th anniversary this year. So here it is. This is my review of The Green Mile. Bad Days! Entertainment rankings and reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1999 fantasy crime drama flick, The Green Mile, released by Warner Bros. For Castle Rock Entertainment, written, directed, and co-produced by Frank Darabont, based on Stephen King's 1996 novel. Starring Tom Hanks along with Michael Clarke Duncan, David Morse, Bonnie Hunt, Sam Rockwell, and James Cromwell. Oh yeah, and Michael Jeter, Doug Hutchison, and others. Now, it focuses on a death row prison guard during the Great Depression who witnesses supernatural events following the arrival of an enigmatic convict at his facility. Now, unfortunately, I somehow missed the date yet, which was yesterday on December 10th, which was the day it was released in 1999. Still, it did get good reviews from critics and became a big success. Because they liked everything, but its runtime received criticism, though. Well, let's get into the story. At a Louisiana assisted living home in 1999, retiree Paul Edgecombe begins to cry while watching the film Top Hat. His companion Elaine becomes concerned, and Paul explains to her that the film reminded him of events that he witnessed when he was an officer at Cold Mountain Penitentiary's death row nicknamed the Green Mile. So we flash back to 1935. Paul supervised corrections officers Brutus Brutal Howell, Dean Stanton, Harry Telliger, and Percy Wetmore, reporting to Warden Hal Moores. Percy, the nephew of the state governor's wife, demonstrates a severe sadistic streak but flaunts his family connections to avoid punishment. He is particularly abusive towards prisoner Edward Delacroix, breaking his fingers and killing his pet mouse, Mr. Jingles. Paul is introduced to John Coffey, a physically imposing but gentle and timid black man sentenced to death after being convicted of raping and murdering two young white girls. He joins Dell and another condemned convict, Native American Arlen Bitterbuck, the first to be executed in the electric chair. The officers are forced to deal with psychotic new inmate William Wild Bill Warden, who frequently causes trouble by assaulting the officers and racially abusing John, forcing them to restrain him in the block's padded cell on more than one occasion. After John heals Paul's severe bladder infection by touching him and later resurrects Mr. Jingles, Paul gradually realizes that John possesses a supernatural ability to heal others. Paul doubts whether someone with the power to perform divine miracles is truly guilty of the crime. In exchange for resigning from the penitentiary and accepting a job at an insane asylum, Percy is allowed to oversee Dale's execution. At the execution, Percy deliberately avoids soaking the sponge used to conduct electricity to Dale's head, leading to Dale suffering a gruesome and agonizing death by electrocution, with John forced to feel Dale's pain as well. Paul and the other officers punish Percy by forcing him to spend the night in the padded cell. While Percy is locked away, they drug Warden and secretly smuggle John out of the prison so that he can use his powers to heal Warden Moore's wife Melinda of a brain tumor, saving her life. After Percy is released from the padded room, the others threaten to report him for his various acts of misconduct if his behavior continues. John uses his powers to release Melinda's affliction into Percy's brain, causing Percy to shoot Warren dead. Soon after, John reveals in a vision that, well, to Paul, that Warren was the true culprit of the crimes for which he was wrongfully condemned, releasing his supernatural energy into Paul in the process. Having gone into a catatonic state, Percy is ironically committed to the same insane asylum where he had planned to work after resigning from the prison. Now, for the final act in the ending, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. As I count down now, if you've seen this movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. After realizing that John is innocent, Paul becomes distraught at the thought of executing him and offers to let him go free. Although equally distraught at the outcome, John tells Paul that the execution would be an act of mercy, as he views the world as a cruel place and is in constant pain from the suffering that people inflict upon each other. Mentioning that he has never seen a movie before, John watches Top Hat with Paul and the other officers as his last request. As John is taken to be executed, he is mercilessly scorned by the parents of the two girls who still believe him to be guilty. He asks not to have the hood, which normally covers the face of the prisoner, in the electric chair placed over his head as he is afraid of the dark, and Paul agrees. Paul, Brutal, Dean, Harry, and the other officers watch in great sorrow, crying and holding back tears as John is executed on Paul's order. Back in the present day, Paul tells Elaine that John's execution was the last that he and Burrell witnessed, as they both subsequently resigned from the prison and took up jobs in the juvenile system. Paul reveals to Elaine that Mr. Jingles is still alive, having been blessed with a supernaturally long life thanks to John's healing touch. He also reveals that he is now 108 years old. He was 44 when John was executed. While Elaine sees Paul's long life as another of John's miracles, Paul speculates that he may have been condemned to linger on earth and outlive all of his loved ones as a divine punishment for John's execution. Paul later attends Elaine's funeral and muses on how much longer he has left to live, saying, we each owe a debt. There are no exceptions, but oh God, sometimes the Green Mile seems so long. End of story. So, what did I think of the Green Mile? Well, I've seen it a few times, and well, apparently, with its long runtime, became the second longest running film I saw in well my young days. Well, now adult days, aside from Titanic. Anyway, I thought it was a pretty good movie, and this is what got me to learn that Stephen King actually kind of made non-horror stories. And this was a big surprise and what have you. Well, rest assured, if I find the Shawshank Redemption, I will certainly look into it and review it. I know that film also celebrated its anniversary this past year, but when I get a chance to see it, I will certainly review it sometime down the road, I promise. Now for what other things I liked about the Green Mile, I think it just had a lot to offer. Now I agree with critics. They praise Mr. Darabont's direction and writing, plus the emotional weight. Yes, this had a lot of emotional weight in it, and the performances, particularly of Tom Hanks as Paul Edgecombe and Michael Clarke Duncan as John Coffey, which this was the film that got me introduced to him. May he rest in peace. I gotta say, they were both really good, and that's another good thing. I did like the prison setting for the Green Mile. That was really good as well. Anyway, the film sets at 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, saying though the film is long, critics say it's an absorbing, emotionally powerful experience. Metacritic has it at a score of 61, and Cinema Score has it at an average grade of an A. Now, Roger Ebert said the film is a shade of 3 hours long. I appreciate the extra time, which allows us to feel the passage of prison months and years. It tells a story with beginning, middle, and end, vivid characters, humor, outrage, and emotional release. Lisa Schwartzbaum of Entertainment Weekly took note of the film's length, but praised Tom Hanks' superior performance and Darabont direction. Saying Darabont's style of picture making is well matched to king-size yarn spinning. The director isn't afraid to let big emotions and grand gestures linger. The San Francisco Chronicle's Edward Gutman thought the cinematography was handsome and the music was florid and melodramatic, and said Darabont is such a committed filmmaker and believes so earnestly and intensely in the stories he puts on screen. The Washington Post called the storytelling brilliance and said, courtesy of Desson Thomson, from its deceptively easygoing beginning to the heart-wrenching finale, the film keeps you wonderfully high above the cynical ground. Those are a lot of good responses. After its release, it later got nominated for 4 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Michael Clarke Duncan, Best Sound, and Best Adapted Screenplay. The film was a big success, going on to make $286 million worldwide against its $60 million budget. Now, in some parts of the world, aside from the U.S., it was released by Warner Bros., but in other select territories, it was released by Universal through United International Pictures. The score for this was done by Thomas Newman, and I must say that was really good. That's very, very incredible, and yes, I must say the music was just so wow, florid and melodramatic, as I said, what Edward Gutman said. Now, for the rest of the cast, as I've already talked about Tom Hanks and Michael Clarke Duncan, we have David Morse, who plays Brutus Howell. I've got to say, he was really good. Bonnie Hunt played Jan Edgecombe, Paul's wife. She was really good. James Cromwell played Hal Morse. The late great Michael Jeter, who would later re-team with Tom Hanks on what would be his last film, the animated film The Polar Express, played Edouard Delacroix. Let's see. Graham Greene played Arlen Bitterbuck. Sam Rockwell played Wild Bill Warden. Barry Pepper played Dean Stanton. And Doug Hutchison played Percy. Hutchison would later reteam with David Morse by appearing in another film Castle Rock would give to us the following year in Bait with Jamie Foxx. Now, of course, he was the bad guy, and I have yet to review that film. I will definitely review that film and bring it to justice because that film didn't do so hot, but this one did. But there's a host of others in this film, including Patricia Clarkson, Harry Dean Stanton, William Sadler, and Gary Sinise, who, of course, also recently worked with Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. So, anyway, The Green Mile is exceptionally a very good film. It does have some really good moments, and yeah, its ending is pretty sad though, a little heart wrenching at times, but still, it had a lot to offer. Great cinematography, great characters, and a great cast, great score, everything. I thought The Green Mile was superb. So even though it runs for a little over 3 hours, The Green Mile is exceptionally really good. So would I recommend The Green Mile? I would say hell yeah, go for it. It is definitely worth checking out. So what did you think of The Green Mile? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. Give them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of the Big D Nation. Or share my vids with your friends if you'd like. And join me next time when I bring to you a back-to-back review of The Lord of the Rings animated film along with The Return of the King. So if you like this, consider checking out my reviews for these recent Tom Hanks films. In the upper left-hand corner is my spoiler-free review of News of the World, which that was pretty good. I know it was released during the pandemic. In the upper right-hand corner is a mini reviews vid that includes the film Asteroid Sea, which he was in. Or go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of Elvis, which that was pretty good. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.